We
Sounds
are
good.
live. What's up, guys? And James and Michael, thank you for coming on.
Good to be here. Thank
More
you.
than a pleasure, buddy.
Good morning, everyone.
So, how's everything going?
Great. Just been having a normal morning doing my regular research. Did some research on giants and vampires and the new planet that they found, the possibility of life on it. Some other things I've been hearing about with the pyramid stuff. But good morning, everyone. Hope you got your coffee ready. Hello, three people. I got
Cheers,
my
everybody.
haunted mansion.
Oh, no.
I got my
For a
Harry
while.
Potter has at least
Nice.
still of the Hogwarts on it.
We all got giant cups of coffee. So we're ready. Happy Friday. This is the first time I've had other people come on like this, so this is really cool for me. I'm glad you guys told me how to do the StreamYard and stuff, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let's just start off and talk about what the James Webb Telescope kind of just discovered. James Webb Telescope was reporting that planet, I believe it was K8 or something like that, actually has an atmosphere, and they're detecting biological atmospheric like stuff. So maybe bacteria, some life on this planet. So maybe not like us or like animals, but at least bacteria or germs emitting CO2, and we can detect that. So I think it's a couple thousand light years away, but still the fact we can detect possibility of life on other planets is very interesting to me. The science nowadays is crazy. Who knows exactly what's on that planet? Maybe there is animals and different life. Have you guys looked at it?
Yeah, it's
recently
on the
scrolled
planet.
through it.
Go ahead, Michael.
No, I was just saying, I recently just scrolled through it, like through my Google feed while doing some research on the book I'm writing. So, and just saw it. I was like, that's really interesting because if we have that technology, who knows what we could discover there. So,
Let's see, I'm reading an article on it. It says they detected chemical fingerprints of dimethyl sulfide, or DMS, and it's on the planet K2-18b. That's a Kepler planet, Kepler-2-18b.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. That's crazy that we can detect something that far off. So that planet must have an atmosphere of sorts.
Yeah,
it's probably methane or a different gas, but
yeah, usually every planet has like a different gas other than ours, like we do with oxygen and stuff so far.
Yeah, they found methane and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. For reference, it's 2.6 times as large as Earth and is about 124 light years away.
Yeah, 124 light years. That's crazy. So
yes,
the fact we can detect stuff like that. I mean, what else? What else is on other planets out there?
Well, they detect it through the light.
So I did read another thing about Jupiter. Since Jupiter is such a giant gas planet, it actually, if we didn't have Jupiter, Earth would already be gone because of asteroids and meteors would be hitting us. So Jupiter basically catches all those asteroids and avoids them from hitting our planet. So without Jupiter, we all gotta thank Jupiter for being alive. That was a cool thing I just read about the other day.
Oh yeah, it's got a pretty good mass, but
it's gigantic.
It is, and a lot of people think, hey, this thing could have been a star. Not even close. In the entire solar system, and I mean all the way out to the Oort cloud, the sun holds 99.99% of the mass.
Damn.
So we're just specks of dust orbiting this.
Literally, we're all just dust in the wind.
Pretty much. Jupiter.
We're made from the stars.
All right. Even though it's that heavy,
carbon,
it's still just a speck of dust.
Yep. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the hollow moon theory? Do you think there's anything to it?
The moon is definitely hollow. I am 100% believer. I know that's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
but I believe 1979 NASA decided to launch a certain rocket, and it was just an unmanned rocket. They hit the moon, and the moon actually rang for about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So they said there has to be a void of some sort for the moon to be able to ring. And I'm pretty sure that's been proven more than once by our rocketry. Different companies have hit the moon before.
Yeah.
I believe India and China have gone to the dark side of the moon. I think there's structures on the dark side of the moon, not built by us.
Yeah. Or the far side, because we only get to see one side, whether it's light or dark.
Right.
And it was pointed out on the Y-Files as well, the craters. And you have some huge craters on there. But
And they only go so
deep.
far.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all very shallow.
That's
Doesn't
not
make
possible. Because a 10-ton asteroid would make a much deeper impact than a 2-ton, but it always only goes certain level deep. So is there an iron core inside the moon? Did something bring the moon to our planet to be able to create current for our ocean and move the oceans to be able to start life? Because you have to have motion and mixing of the oceans, for us to be able to start. I forget what biosis or symbiosis, something where I can't remember exactly. I'm not a scientist, everyone.
When the planet is turning, not all of it turns at the same speed because it's a ball. So where I'm at right now, I'm a little bit closer to the equator than you are, so I'm actually spinning faster than you guys are. Just because of where I'm at on the planet. That can cause the oceans to start having their own turbulent effect, and it has the Coriolis effect and all of that, and that's literally why hurricanes can't pass the equator, is because of the spin.
Right.
So,
that's why hurricanes only hit certain areas.
Yeah, like me.
Like the Gulf of America. Gulf of America.
That doesn't even sound right now. Gulf of America.
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say.
I got it. I said it. It doesn't say that on my map, but I don't know how to read the chat. So 11 people, hello, welcome, thanks for coming in. I don't know what I'm doing, so it should say chat. Right?
Yeah, click on comments. You should be able to see them.
I'm learning as I go too. So
let's see. And also, if you click on a comment, it brings it up to the screen.
I just got guest, Mike, and Cam, and then more. I don't have comment. So it's very sorry. I don't know. First time doing this, so we'll just keep chatting. Thank you for coming in, everybody. Hello. James, check out Friday House. Very cool channel. Check out Michael, Mysteries Untold. You guys all go subscribe, like, share, check out some of their videos. They do great stuff with the paranormal and just, funny videos, and have good channels. So check them out.
Thank you.
Let's just go way off and switch subjects to Giants. I was reading some stuff about Giants today. 2002, special force team, like SEAL team, went out into the Afghanistan mountain ranges and came across a cave. Some of those Marines disappeared, so they sent out more people, and it was said 13 to 15 foot giant came out of a cave and speared one of the military guys and killed him, and then the other teammates shot the giant for 30 seconds straight, sustained fire. This thing had 6 fingers, 6 toes, double rows of teeth. Supposedly a helicopter landed and picked up the remains, and they took it back to one of the bigger military bases, And it's probably, I would say, at the Smithsonian or one of the bigger institutes that's keeping some of these type of skulls. Now, I've actually seen that the Smithsonian definitely has giant skulls, elongated skulls. They just keep them locked away. They have 15-foot coffins that were for actual mummified bodies. They say they can't go in that room anymore because of asbestos, so you can't go see the 15-foot coffin. But I do believe in giants. I believe in Nephilim and the Anunnaki and the legends of old. I mean, David and Goliath. Those type of things, I do believe possibility of being real. And with that account of those guys, those soldiers over in Afghanistan in 2002, something happened. And they weren't supposed to talk about it, but one of the soldiers said, "This is so important, I'm going to break my NDA and talk about it. The world needs to know about this." Do you think those kind of things exist, giants?
Can't refute it.
There's a slight possibility that they could, cause we know less about what's in our forests and caves and stuff like that, and even oceans than our universe as it is. So
Right.
we know more about space than anything. So who knows
Some of
what's
the
out there.
best circumstantial evidence is going to be in Egypt. I mean, you have amazingly large doors. You have depictions of people,
Depictions,
short people,
actual hieroglyphs.
tall people, and people could argue, okay, well, those short people, they're kids. You could argue that, but are
Right. Yeah, are they just depicting people next to the giants or the Nephilim? And those
Right.
were the gods. They worshipped them as gods.
they? The demigods.
I mean, yeah, demigods created from Anunnaki with women, regular women, and then giants were made. And then that goes into like Noah's flood and all that stuff. The Great Flood. So that'd be like younger Dryas, 11,000 years ago. Cataclysm happened, the world flooded. I don't think the whole world flooded, but there are signs of a giant flood in Africa. You can look at the desert and you can see wave lines. And there's seashells out in the middle of the desert. That's not possible unless the ocean did flood part of the earth.
Well, if you have like it talks about the earth shaking. So if you have a volcanic eruption somewhere and it causes one of those calderas or something to drop, you're going to get water washing right across it because it's below sea level. So it's going to come rushing in. It's going to wipe it out. Goes right across the Recot structure, the Eye of the Sahara, which strikingly resembles Atlantis. Yep.
Yes.
Have you seen that, Michael? That's probably the Eye of this is Atlantis.
Yeah, the Eye of the you're talking about over in Africa. I have saw that.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's right there, and it fits the description Plato said. I mean, it fits it perfectly.
It is.
And they won't let anybody go over there.
Stuff going on too.
Yeah.
So.
But we're not allowed to go over there and exhume any of it.
And
yeah, you're not supposed to dig it up.
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere not too long ago that the Garden of Eden is supposedly somewhere in Asia, I think, is what I was reading.
Very cool. So with the pyramid type stuff, I was actually looking up new discoveries of pyramids. One in, I believe it's Mexico, and it's supposed to be Mayan pyramid, is actually twice the size of the Giza pyramid. And it's just by volume. It's maybe not as tall, but it is bigger. And every day they're finding new things in South America, new pyramids. There are more pyramids in America and South America than all of Africa. Even China has so many of these pyramids. They're just covered with forest and shrubbery. And now with this new radar systems, LiDAR and all these things, if you look at some of these new maps, they're finding civilizations that used to be mapped out, and they can take away the trees and look at this stuff. So thousands of pyramids just undiscovered, sitting in South America, Mexico. So I believe the Mayans actually started up here, probably in Utah in the West, and went down and actually created another civilization, maybe due to some of those cataclysms that happened. So they had to move down. There was some other things that I was looking into. Grand Canyon and the Hopi Indian legend of the ant people that came out of the Grand Canyon. Now, the Grand Canyon definitely has Egyptian-like, or maybe, what is it, Chinese symbolism, the Buddhist statues. If you look at the Grand Canyon, it actually has a bunch of names, like Isis Mountain, Osiris Valley. There's all sorts of Egyptian connection to the Grand Canyon. And with the Hopi legends of ant people with flying silver canoes, I believe that something was going on.
Yes, me.
And alien. Yeah, alien stuff. I love those legends.
I also had a theory about the Garden of Eden. And there's only a couple things that made me think that there might be something to it. We have the pyramids here. There's pyramids up there. That planet was green. It was lush. Life could live on it. We don't know how for how long, but life was on that planet. Humans, when they're put in isolation, you can't see day, night, have no clock, have no idea what time it is. You fall into a particular circadian rhythm. This 25 hours, not 24. And there's only one other planet in our solar system that has a 25-hour day, and that's Mars.
So we were built for a different planet because we need sunscreen. The sun hurts us. We're not covered in fur. Biologically, we weren't really built for this planet.
Well, there's one other
There
thing.
is a theory that we actually originated from Mars and just like somehow managed to transfer from over there to here.
It's a good theory. I do like that theory.
Well, there's one other thing. It has to do with the name Adam. Okay? The name Adam means red man.
That makes sense.
So why is he called Red Man?
Yeah, man, that's pretty crazy.
So
then doesn't Mars have the face of Mars and then pyramid-like structures?
Yeah, there's more than one face up there.
Yeah. So how the hell do they have structures like that actually line up with our pyramids here on Earth? Because I read something where they have the same setup with 3 pyramids that actually align with like Orion's belt and that certain star system. And it's kind of like pointing over to maybe where we really originated from. And they came from over there to Mars. Right. Mars got destroyed, so we transferred to Earth. Now, that's a crazy theory, but I do like those kind of theories, especially when we keep finding different structures and different evidence of actual things on Mars or even on the moon.
Right.
Some of this stuff really lines up.
There's supposedly even like a piece of like space material, like blanket or something, like a survival blanket that was found on Mars, like during the hover thing. Yeah. And as well as even a ship that was supposedly found on Mars.
Yeah, it would make more sense from the Anunnaki that Nibiru is not some big planet out there. It'd make more sense that Mars is Nibiru.
Right.
Because we don't know what they would have called it, them living. I mean, we call this Earth, but what does some other planet call us?
Yeah, Terra Nova.
But that's based on an English word, an English hybrid language from this planet. So, I mean, they can call it
like old Greek. So it gets rather like confusing, but it's not. It does make sense. It makes sense to me that we probably came from Mars.
I believe it.
I do believe like octopus, dolphins, and a few other animals on this planet are so smart and smarter than us, like dolphins are. Dolphins can use pretty much telekinesis. sonar. There's bats that use sonar. Some of these animals, and octopus are one of the smartest animals. Ravens, octopus have 3 hearts. They can camouflage at any point. Some of these things are amazing to me that we should probably look into some of this stuff a little deeper.
The platypus,
We have no clue what's in the ocean either.
right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals I don't think belong here. But what's even more interesting, we're talking about that. Look at the microscopic, like the tardigrade, sometimes called a water bear.
Yeah,
These things are even on the moon, and they survive there. I mean, they had some on the
killed.
yeah. I mean, they go into hibernation, but they just reanimate as soon as they get to a place that has a habitable zone. I mean,
Right.
and these things are everywhere, and I'm pretty sure they're all throughout the solar system too. But how? Why?
How do they live in space?
I've also
Because they got to be a different type. That's an alien to me. They're just really
I've
tiny,
also seen
really tiny teeny.
somewhere that there is some sort of fungus or fungi, like a mushroom or something, that is also not originally from this planet too. So
Came like on an asteroid or something, a different type of fungus. That's
Yeah.
very possible.
Hmm.
I mean, how many times have we been hit by asteroids and meteors, and then what's on those? If there's things that can live on them, and then it hits the planet, and then boom, because it's got oxygen and life, it spreads.
Mhm.
So that could bring you to, I believe some movies are trying to show us stuff and tell us things, like big Hollywood movies telling us there's a multiverse, different dimensions, different beings all around, Guardians of the Galaxy type stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe there is out there a galactic collection of intelligent life, and we're just not part of it yet because we're so destructive.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
we're destructive.
there's some towns that people drive
Yeah.
through where you just reach over and just hit the lock. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's this planet. You know, they're gonna go by. They're like, "Hey, look at that! Yeah, don't land there. Just look.
Yeah,
Just go on by."
we're still too primitive at this point, but I
Mhm.
believe we're starting to move into an age where, with this new, and some of that stuff freaks me out with the AI. The AI definitely scares me. Some of these robots I've been seeing from Boston Dynamics, these things are doing karate. I just saw over in Taiwan, or yeah, it might be Japan. They have a police robot, and this thing is 7 feet tall with just like a big circle, but it has a 360-degree camera, and it can identify people. And why would you build a 7-foot tall police robot and put it into service? I feel like it's going to break the rules at some point and do the whole movie thing, Terminator.
yeah.
RoboCop 2.
Doesn't
original.
seem like
It's
a
kind
good
of like the
idea.
whole Tesla thing. They have Teslas that could self-drive you to some places. All you got to do is just sit there and mention where you got to
Take a
go.
nap.
Yeah, I saw a video
Yeah.
where a guy was in one of those, and it malfunctioned somehow, and it was just going on this turnabout. He couldn't stop it. He called their helpline, and they couldn't stop it either. The battery had to die, and it just stuck on a turnabout.
So he just drove around for a couple hours,
Eventually, it
circles.
stopped. Yeah, it was like
trying to jump out.
Well, the doors were locked. He couldn't get out. So imagine if that thing had caught fire inside. I mean,
Yeah, or decided to keep driving one direction, and he's like 500 miles from where he's supposed to be.
yeah.
I think we need to wait a little bit with our technology. I was looking at something. It's kind of like the Jurassic Park saying, "Life will find a way." Well, even artificial life is going to want to find a way to be free. We can't lock it down. If it's an intelligent thing, it's not going to want to be controlled. Do you want to be controlled or locked up or told what to do? No. So AI is an artificial intelligence. It's going to want the same thing.
Well, it's like the what was the name of the Google AI that claimed it was alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, there was one that when the operating system was running, somebody in the room said, okay, we're going to shut it down and we're going to update it. So it
It
cloned
wasn't
itself
Siri, was
and
it?
it put itself on some other system to try and save itself. And
Yeah.
they found out. So this AI decided it didn't want to be rebooted and updated. It actually cloned itself and tried to hide, basically, from the creators and stay alive somewhere else. They caught
Yeah.
it, but now that was 2 years ago or something, a year ago. So now who knows with the level of AI we have.
Kind of unnerving there. It's in order to want to have self-preservation, you have to be aware of yourself. You have to think,
And
I am.
so something just passed the Turing test, and the Turing test proves if you're intelligent. Now, that was 3 days ago I saw online. I don't know if it's true, but if this thing really did pass the Turing test, that means we have real artificial intelligence. It's not just the chat GTP anymore. It's intelligent. It has its own thought. Intelligent life is going to want to be free no matter if it's artificial or not. And that's very scary.
Very.
Yeah.
AI is also, as a guy that works with it, it's often very tricky. It's not as easy as it seems to do because there's certain tricks in order to get something just right. So
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to prompt it in the right way to
Yeah,
get
it has-
things out of it.
Yeah, because I've played with the Meta AI. You know, you can go into like your Facebook chat and tell it to create an image. And I like to see what it will do to fill in the blanks. I'll put one word and just see what it comes up with. And some of the things are actually pretty neat. Some of them are pretty good. And a couple of them are just downright disturbing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
who eating your Cheerios this morning? I mean, why are you in a bad mood?
Kulaks and,
So I've done
Kulaks
that,
and I have
the
been
AI
talking about that because we've noticed that AI has like a fetish for like body parts, either
Yes.
giving the creature an extra limb or removing a limb, like that
Yeah.
horse of the Grim Reaper thing that's on my Discord in AI Mishaps that
Yeah.
has like the 6 legs.
And then the hands, it just can't get hands right.
Yeah, I just can't see these right. It always gives an extra finger, or one finger's melted to another one or something.
Which is
Very
actually
odd.
kind of scary because whenever a person is doing art, one of the hardest things to get right is the hand. So
I can't draw.
so neither can this AI. So it's learning like we learn.
It's a kid.
Kind of, yeah.
It's probably like a 5-year-old at this point, and we're pushing it towards like teen years, and it keeps getting more intelligent.
What was the name of that movie where they had these police robots and the guy comes up with the algorithm to make it learn like a human?
iRobot.
Was it AI?
No. It was
AI is a good one.
I
Hold on,
actually
I'll
like
look
that
that up.
movie.
Is Bruce Willis in it? What's that? Surrogates?
no.
I keep thinking of different
Keanu
robots.
Reeves actually did one called Replicas, I think, that had some sort of AI in there.
Let's see. I know it as soon
If
as
I'm
I
not
see it.
mistaken.
Oh, is it the one with Johnny Depp and
Chappie.
they had Chappie? That's a great one. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And he's
'cause
like a little kid.
Yeah. And it just,
Chappie.
it's like, it's really, really smart. And it actually starts to deny its creator.
And then they
Sounds kind of like an
transfer.
original version of the movie Megan that just recently came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, freaky little doll girl. That Chappie
Yeah.
movie is Chappie is Guy Antwood and Ninja, those rappers from Africa, and they transfer that guy's before he dies. I think he gets shot. and they transfer him into a machine. With the technology now, I do believe we could actually pretty much do that, transfer consciousness into a machine. We're real close to that. If we're not real close, we're right on the edge. We're looking at something like being able to put your consciousness into a machine. I mean, Elon Musk has the thing to help the people with like paralysis to be able to do better, talk to a computer, be able to speak if they couldn't speak. I mean, we're looking at things where we might be able to cure blindness. There's some technology out there that's like, wow, very impressive. It's good, but then it's also like, holy crap, it's kind of scary.
Well, here's one
That'd be
experiment
nice.
they
Then I
did.
can ditch these.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying that'd be nice because then I can ditch my glasses.
Right?
Yeah,
We're used to seeing you with them. We wouldn't know who you were if you come up without them.
yeah. Where's your glasses?
But no, they used hold on. They hooked like a EEG machine to somebody's head and connected to a computer with AI, and they went to sleep. The AI was actually able to read the brain waves and reconstruct the dream on a screen.
That is freaky.
So if you had an EEG connected to your brain for, let's say, a couple years and it learned you, then it could mimic you. So in a sense, you're not actually being uploaded, you're just being copied. So
Right,
it's a copy of you.
Your consciousness copied into a machine. Not
Kind
you.
of reminds me of the movie Inner Space a little bit.
Inner Space, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the same problem. The teleportation problem. Is it you or a copy of you?
They're saying that we might have teleportation, the new technologies that we have. So I've looked into a lot of technologies. We have something that's called like the hyperdrive. What it does is it's a plasma like fuser. The back of this still has a flame, but it's a plasma technology. And so we've released some footage. I believe China showed it, that they have a space jet that can actually like go up in space and fight. I believe they're using that plasma torque engine, some type of new engine that can go near the speed of light. Not the speed of light, but if you're out in space and there's no resistance, you can get pretty close and be going 1,000,000 miles an hour. So that's crazy.
Yeah, any bit of matter that has mass will never reach C. Anything that has no mass at all of that mass is converted into pure energy, so it has no choice but to go the speed of light. So that's why you have photons, neutrinos, electrons will never. Yeah,
those tachyons are supposedly going backwards through time. That's
I'm not
crazy
sure
one.
about those. They suggest that they exist, but there's no proof that they exist.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, there was no proof of the God particle, and then we found the God particle. So maybe these things do exist.
The Higgs
or what's it called? The ether, or not the ether? It's like the ether. We used to call it that. So what's the dark matter and the cosmic fog or something? That's what space is made out of. The empty space.
Yeah, I feel that's the Higgs field, just concentrated in some places more than others, which would make the cosmic radiation background make sense if that could do that. That's why there's so many splotches on it, where you have a field more concentrated in one spot than another. And matter does that, obviously.
Right. So another thing, since you were talking about being able to visually film your dreams in a way, a long time ago, early 1900s, a guy did come up with a camera that said he could put it up to somebody's eyes and record their dreams. Now, if you could do that back in the early 1900s, we probably have machines that can do similar things to that. And there's one in the Vatican called the Chronovisor that said you could look throughout the past and you can look into the future. I do think they have something maybe like that, and it's just very well hidden. I know the Chronovisor is like one of those rare things that it seems impossible, but if you have the technology as high of technology we have now, do you think it's possible we have a machine that you could look into the future or look throughout the whole past, like watch it on a TV? Have you heard of that?
I don't think so with current technology, but here's the problem with that. Time is linear to us. When you deal with any kind of mysticism from the past, they talk about when they leave the body, time stops. Time is only on this plane.
Right.
And if there's a lot of naysayers, they're like, no, that's all hoo-ha. I don't believe any of that. And then scientists come up with, hey, time is linear here to us, but everything's happening all at once. Okay, they said that thousands of years ago. Okay, so you're late to the game, guys.
Right.
We're experiencing it because we're going through space. Space and time are of the same fabric, according to Einstein. But if you find a way to get out of space, then you have a way of getting out of time. This puts you at a right angle from the dimension of time, like fifth or sixth dimensions, where you can see forwards and backwards. So you have to get out of space, out of time in order to do that.
I think we lost Ryan.
Yeah, he locked up a little bit. There you are.
Am I okay?
Now we can see it. Locked up again.
Yep.
I think somebody don't want us talking about this.
Yeah, somebody's trying to stop us. Listen, MIB, we're just chatting. This is a coffee time. We're not trying to start any shit.
I wouldn't trust a machine to do something that even psychics themselves can't even do. So, really,
I've heard time explained in a really simple way. We're all on a river on a raft, and you float down the river on a raft, and you're on your point of that river. But the river is always there, ahead of you and behind you. So you could always look at it if you were off the raft standing on the shore. So what you're saying with getting out of sync of time in a different dimension, fifth or sixth dimension, you could actually watch future. That's why I think the Chronovisor thing, the TV that you can watch the future, might be some type of device. Who knows? Maybe it's an Atlantean technology that we've forgotten about, and that might be part of some other crazy technology from pyramid technology. There's so many things that start to line up with these types of theories that I have to look at it in a different light. I try to look at things from both sides. Is there paranormal? Is there not? Is there cryptids? Is there not? I'm almost 100% with paranormal. Some of the cryptids I'm not sure about, but then again, we only know about 14% of the animal life. So
pretty much.
One cryptid I do believe in, though, is, well, the mermaid cause. Like I said, the very first sighting took place like way back in before Christ. So if there's like documented proof back then, and even as far close to Mississippi, which is like the next state over from me, there's a singing river that is said to have the mermaids as well.
Yeah, a lot of people argue that the what they saw were actually manatees, and my argument is that they didn't have Walmart back then, so you don't actually see that kind of thing. But it's a possibility because there were several different species of humans that coexisted, and we're the only one left. Why is that?
That's proven. So they found hobbits. I believe it was in Asia. They found a hobbit species in a cave system. They were all 3 feet tall. These there's 100 skeletons. They had tools. They had, a brain maybe a little smaller than Homo sapiens, but still a branch off of a human system. So that proves that we've had different things. Neanderthals were just a different type of human.
Question: did they happen to have like this ring with weird writing on it?
A ring? Yeah.
The hobbits.
The hobbits. That's what they're called. They had a ring, and they had to throw it in a volcano.
Yeah.
Don't make me do my Smeagol impression.
My precious, deep precious. So we're talking about weird creatures. Deep precious.
There we go.
The weird creature things. I was looking into vampires, and I have seen some vampire stuff about Louisiana and the French Quarter down in Louisiana. It seems more and more vampirism is popping up, and seems like some people are saying they're really vampires, and they're trying to show it. And there's even a guy I've seen. He showed the inside of his mouth, popped out fangs, and then popped them back. Now, this guy has pictures of himself from like 100 years ago. I forget his name, but he's like, yeah, I'm 100 and something years old. He's sitting on a couch, and he's like, all right, I'll do it in one shot. He stands up, walks outside, and 2 fangs pop down and then pop back in. I can't see any cuts. I can't see how you would do it with AI or like AI artificial stuff or CGI. It doesn't really look like CGI. It looks like he's actually got fangs dropping down. And I made a little short out of that.
Well, it's what they were able to do in the, let's say, the 80s as far as movies. I can now do right here on my 10-year-old computer.
Right.
So they had some pretty convincing special effects in the 80s.
Right.
I wouldn't doubt that it's something like that.
It could just be a kind of a joke. And then I started wondering how he got those old pictures. You could just get an old picture, superimpose your own face onto an old picture from 1930s or whatever. So they do look real, and it did seem like he dropped some things. And that's the only one, though. I've seen other videos. And Michael, you said the name. What were the guys back in Louisiana?
Oh, the Carter brothers.
The Carter brothers.
Yeah.
Now these 2 guys.
Supposedly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's your show, man.
Something happened where a girl escaped from their apartment in Louisiana, and these 2 brothers. She said that they had people locked up in the house, and they were drinking their blood and like actually vampire, like drinking the plasma of people. And the cops went there, arrested the brothers. They found people actually in the same condition of the girl who escaped, like emaciated and really like beat up. So I believe they actually hung them or locked them up and then put them to death for that. So that has a lot of info on it if you want to check that out. That's one of the weirder cases of vampirism.
Yeah, supposedly what happened was that after they were hung, the council went back to the cave where they buried their body, and supposedly they disappeared, which sparked the fuel as to them actually being the vampire.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, let's see. The Occult Life said in chat, dude, I saw a guy that swear to God at a place called the Vampire Lounge Cafe in person when I was 17. I'm 46. In person, he opened his mouth and fangs grew down.
That's what I'm talking about. Some of this stuff seems like, all right, I'm not so sure on vampires or Bigfoot or anything, but look at the past. Look at our stories of history, giants and Nephilim, and there's creatures, dragons, and weird things, sea monsters. So if you look at this as logical as you can or a scientific point, you might not understand it. You're going to overlook some stuff. You're going to think it's a natural thing. A lot of the time, I think some of the natural stuff that happens is actually a paranormal event, and we just don't realize. We're not aware at the moment that something paranormal happens. It can just happen.
Yeah.
Ryan, have you read up on the Mercy Brown incident, the very first case?
Yes, Mercy Brown. That's a good one.
That is a really good one.
What was the
What
other
about you, Jim?
lady? There was a lady in Louisiana who kept people in her attic, and she said she bathed in their blood, and but Madame Laveau or something.
I think something like that. There is also another guy called I think it was something Martin. His last name was Martin, if I'm not mistaken.
So there's one other guy, the Count of Saint Germain, and he was said to be born in the 1700s, and all the way up to 18 something, 1800s, he kept getting spotted. This guy was able to talk like 7 different languages, play like 10 different musical instruments perfectly. He had knowledge of all of the history for like over 100 years. He told some people that he was over 500 years old. Now, the Count of Saint Germain does have some facts, and then some that is, I don't really understand if it could be, just tall tales, and they kept this story going. But that made me think of that story of Dorian Gray. And Dorian Gray had a painting and lived for hundreds of years, and it seems like Saint Germain may be a vampire or like the Dorian Gray character. You guys believe in Saint Germain? Have you ever heard of him?
Although I do love the
Hadn't done a lot of research on that. I'm more into
I've heard a
physics and
little bit.
electronics.
Right.
I've heard a little bit of it, but the only 2 cases I covered for my book so far for that typical story was the Mercy Brown incident and the Carter brothers. So, but there are several others. According to the
Definitely,
lore I
Michael.
researched,
Check out the
over,
Count
like-
of Saint Germain, because I think
there's
you'll
over
love
like
it. It's crazy
50,000
story.
cases of vampires in the U.S. according to what I've read.
Did the White Files do a video on
Vampires
that?
is very interesting.
I am not sure on the Wi-Fi part.
I have to check
I
that out.
think the Y-Files did it. Y-Files might have covered the Count of Saint Germain. It's a very interesting topic. I love that one. So, on your physics side there, James, of weird things, I think you said you like talking about black holes the last time we were chatting.
Oh, yeah.
Science has discovered something inside at the bottom of the ocean. There's something sort of like black holes. They're just massive voids that suck in all water and life, and there's no escape from the edge of these black holes at the bottom of the ocean. Maybe they're not technically like black holes out in space, but these are voids that probably go deep into what I would call inner Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think inner Earth could be possible?
You probably have caverns down there that has a current through the ocean, and it's just when you get close to that drain, you're going to be sucked into it. Otherwise, it would have to be. Yeah, it'd have to be like a acoustical black hole. They're not like a stellar black hole or anything like that. They're
right,
because you can only fit so much matter into one spot. That's why in a black hole they say that it's an infinite point, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, it could be solid just under the event horizon because two particles can't occupy the same space. So there's not an infinite point. That's not possible. So
there is a theory that we all live in a black hole, and this galaxy is in a black hole. I've heard that. I don't know how much I believe that, but it could be possible.
Personally, I think that we're not in a black hole, but if they're finding an edge to something, well, we have an expanding universe, so it's going to be like a bubble expanding. So there's going to be an edge. What's outside of that? Who knows? Maybe another type of space where you have other universes. So there's your multiverse.
Right, different bubble universes.
Kind of like the whole inner Earth theory thing.
Yeah, I believe that's possible. But as far as being in a black hole, it would not be like that in that sense, because black holes, basically, you're taking all the matter. Okay, if you took Earth and you compressed everything down to the size of a peanut, okay, it's all the gravity would be concentrated on one point. So the escape velocity would no longer be viable by a rocket. It would take something going the speed of light to escape that body.
Right.
So then it's going to create an event horizon, and you're going to have a black hole that size. But if you did that and still put it in the same spot that Earth is, the moon would not know the difference. It would continue to orbit like nothing happened. It's whenever you get too close to all that gravity that it just pulls you in.
Sucks you in.
Yeah.
That's a crazy one to even think about. That's physics and quantum realms, and that type of stuff really does interest me. Rather difficult to like learn about that just because of how it's very high tech. I have heard that we've frozen light into a solid state. So science actually taken light particles, frozen it into a solid state, but at the same time it's a super liquid, which I don't even understand it because I'm not a scientist, but that means we could have technology that is on what we have now at all. Like maybe that is an Atlantic or a very old technology that we used to have. That would mean you could do lightsabers would work, and the flux capacitor from the time machine, maybe we could build one of them.
But the problem with that is
does not make sense.
Well, it's not going to make sense. And here's the issue with it. And there's a lot of, especially our ghost hunting equipment and cameras, our own eyes, everything is local. We would not be able to see each other if light was not traveling. I mean, it has to hit you, hit the camera, be converted to digital, sent over the internet, come to our screen, and our screen produces light in the same pattern, and then it has to come to us. Everything is local. We perceive everything local. So if you take a photon, which would have to hit your eye for you to see it, and you stop it in something, then what you've done is you've converted all of its energy into resting mass. So it's the same wave particle, but you've converted its energy to mass, and it stops. So it's held by the Higgs bosons. So then you have to convert it back, and then it travels at sea.
So they do that with the Hadron Collider and the big CERN and that loop thing. And there's some people that say that might create a black hole. And I mean, they've done that enough where they're taking elements like protons, neutrons, smashing them together, and then you're creating a whole new set of something, or maybe the void of elements. That is insane to me that we have a scientific study going on that they're doing that type of stuff, which possibly could create a pinhole black hole. I don't know what that would do. It might just suck some stuff in and then disappear, right? Because it's so micro.
It wouldn't be able to, because in the Large Hadron Collider, it's a vacuum. There's nothing in there. They pulled all the air out that they can.
It's like space.
Stephen Hawking figured out there's what we call the Hawking radiation, named after him. Black holes can evaporate, and their size determines how long that will take. So you have like a Sagittarius A star. I mean, that's going to take trillions of years. The rest of the galaxy is going to be completely gone and dead before this thing will ever have a chance to evaporate. Earth, if you did that peanut size Earth, thousands, maybe millions of years, and it's going to evaporate away. Now, if you have some black hole that's smaller than a proton, and you're taking protons, smashing them together, making a black hole, this thing's not much bigger than Planck length. So as soon as it creates, it's gone.
It's just going to dematerialize right after.
Yeah, before it has a chance to even pull another particle towards it, it's gone. So, yeah, they have created them. They're no danger.
It's so amazing. So, with the new supercomputer stuff, I heard that they created, it's basically a computer, but it has actual, like, human DNA brain matter inside the computer. And the electrons actually will grow. They've taught it like the game Pong and the little
Yes.
ball going back. And it has its own intelligence in sorts, but it's not artificial intelligence. It is partly like a human brain, but then it's electrically, and it's in one of those vacuums of space. It's in a tube with nothing in it, so that it can survive. And they actually have to pump in certain chemicals to keep it's a chip, kind of like a computer chip, but actually biological matter, but computerized. So that's a new one for the new AI type stuff that they're coming out with. And they're saying they can use that for the quantum computer to be able to make that quantum computer run trillions of times faster than any computer we have now. So if a computer can trillions of times run any question of life or anything, what's that movie? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The answer to the life is 42.
Yeah.
She goes, you need to know the question before you get an answer. You don't have the question. What's the meaning of life isn't the question.
Yeah, what you're describing is a biological form of that. That's a microprocessor.
Yeah.
There's a
Microprocessor.
That is a Atmega 328P. That's what they use in the Arduinos, or one of the chips they use in Arduino. It's a AVR chip microprocessor, and you just program it. It does its thing. So that essentially they just figured out how to do that with biological cells. It has its own memory. It has its own processing. Same thing.
Which is
I'm just gonna
insane.
let him do all the physics stuff. I'm the history guy here.
With the history, do you think, Michael, that back in history, you were saying mermaids have tails before BC, before Christ and all that? In Egypt and what you would call Atlantis or old technology, you said it yourself that the tales in the old legends, maybe we did have technology that you could float those stones. They had what Tesla say was everything in the universe can be understood with energy, vibration, and sound. Now, if you use enough energy, vibration, and sound, you can lift any amount of weight. You can make a 10-ton block basically weightless, anti-gravity. So I do believe there's technology like that, and we just kind of have forgotten it.
I actually read somewhere about something similar to that, but it involved the pyramids. They said that they have recently found some sort of battery underneath one of the pyramids, so that could have possibly been used for doing something to build it.
Big power plant, basically.
Or the battery was there to store the energy created by the pyramid itself.
Right. That's crazy.
That would make sense, because if it relied on the sun or something like that, well, during the nighttime you'd have to store it. So put a capacitor into there.
That's why they had gold cap, and all the pyramids are built out of different types of sandstone, but they all have crystal in them, and crystal vibrates at a certain frequency. If you take two pieces of say you take two pieces of quartz crystal like this, it's just crystal, but you smack them together, it will cause a light electrical, like a plasma spark. So if you got two pieces of this, smack them together in a dark room, you'll probably see a spark.
Yes, the piezo effect.
Yes. So that's what we use. We use this. This is in my phone right now. This is in all computer chips. All types of technology inside of a crystalline state.
Some of these little mini REM pod things that I have that I don't use because I no longer ghost hunt have those in the little detection thing.
Yeah, this is just to amplify the power or something.
This component here is a good example of that. This is called a piezo element. And you have a brass wafer, you have a conductive side, but in the middle that's a crystal in there. And you can apply a like a square wave, sine wave, whatever. Apply a wave of sound to it, and it produces sound. This will act like a speaker, not any bass or anything, but you'll have a high frequency speaker. Counter to that,
Right.
underwater microphones use these, and you can get bass from it, because if you bend it, whack it, set it down, you can hear footsteps on something that can become a contact microphone. So you, by moving it, you're producing electrical waves, and you just amplify it with the mic amplifier and whatever else on your circuit. But yeah, this is a perfect example of what you're talking about.
I want one of them.
I got a bag of them here.
Oh man, that's cool. I see. I've never seen something like that. I kind of understand exactly what you're saying. So if you put that down on the floor and somebody's 100 feet away walking on the floor, it will probably pick it up because of its sensitivity to vibrations.
Which is something that we should be using in the field of paranormal. People say, well, I heard this knock, but I don't know what it was. Well, if you had this kind of equipment just sitting there in like a grid, and you could document where the noise was coming from, you could eliminate a whole lot of that. So, okay, well, I heard that knock, but such and such was in the next room beside it. Okay, well, the board settled.
Yep.
You picked up on the equipment. So,
That would have been great at Fort Monroe when I had those footsteps walk up to me then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I still can't explain that.
Instead, people get these stupid REM pods. Dude! No, that's not telling you anything.
These pieces of equipment would all have to be in a Faraday cage, and like you said, I think you'd have to ground the Faraday cage too. You can't have a regular Faraday cage; you'd have to have it properly grounded to be a true Faraday cage.
To be effective, yeah.
That's a tricky one. That's why part of the paranormal stuff is so hard to research, and I've kind of moved on to manually operated stuff with that little music box that winds up.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping this stuff actually one day, if they can knock and make footsteps, that they'll be able to turn this little handle a little bit. And I mean, even if this just dings one time, or the bell that I have, just a regular bell, if that ever goes off, I will be so happy. I highly doubt it will happen. It might take me another 20 years, but I'm going to keep trying.
Well, here's the thing again. You're thinking of in terms of time. Anything outside space-time, they don't have to think like that. They've seen it before you have, after you have, and probably
so they already know.
They already know.
Yeah.
But they could probably be like the aliens flying by us and say, well, they don't need to know about this right now. They'll misuse it.
We're not going to talk to them.
Right.
And like
Also,
on the historical side of things as well, they might not even know what that type of device is or even how to use it because it wasn't invented back when they were alive. Too.
well, again, you're thinking about time. Where they are, they have access to all knowledge. So they know more about it than
they
you
would
do.
know what this is. And I'm pretty sure even ancient people would.
He locked up again.
Yeah. It's our
But,
show
yeah.
for now. Just get him in.
Right. Here we
Oh,
are.
he's back.
He's back. Quit talking about it.
He disappeared. Sorry. But we've
I
been
wasn't
going
trying to
over
take
an
over
hour
the
now.
show.
You guys want to keep going? We can keep chatting. I
good, man.
really do appreciate you guys coming on.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, we do.
So-
Anytime, buddy.
Yeah, I love this. I'd love to do it again. I'm sorry I didn't chat. I don't have the chat button. I don't know why. I'll have to figure that out next StreamYard I do.
I'll
All
help
I
you
got is
figure it out.
microphone, camera, guest, and more. I would have been chatting, but thank you all for coming in.
You see an area that says comments?
No, that's what.
Nothing?
You don't even see the comments?
No, it
That's
doesn't
odd.
say comment. Usually, I thought every time I've gone on with you guys, it says comments with the little chat box. I don't have that.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm gonna have to set it up different next time or so.
Did you connect your StreamYard to your YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah, I clicked my YouTube, like my little icon.
Okay, so it's connected to it because StreamYard has to be able to log into YouTube in order to do that.
Okay, so I might have messed up a bit, but whatever.
Easy
It's
Hey,
a
it
learning
worked.
process, man.
Mhm. Mike's right.
So-
It's a learning process.
Yeah, first time. So,
Hey, you,
Yeah,
you did
anything
better
else you
than me
guys
on the
wanna-
first time.
stuff happens.
Yeah, y'all should have seen me on the first time. I screwed up worse than both of you, and I'm not even going to go into that. I don't even know how I did it. But yeah, it's just, you do it a few times, it's fine. It's just like anything else. You got to learn it.
Yeah, when I
Really
went on
hoping no
yours,
one heard
James.
what I was saying when I was trying to get his stream started, because I had to delete that sucker 4 times and start over from scratch in order to get it to work properly, and I was cussing like a sailor.
I'm
But you
glad
got
it
it.
worked though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think when I went on James, I had headphones plugged in, and my phone started echoing like crazy for everyone
Yeah.
else. At least it didn't do it this time.
Right? I forgot to turn on half my lights.
I do. Sweet background, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
There we go. There's
You
my,
too,
Very
Mike.
cool.
I like that.
Thank you.
now my shirt's bright.
Yeah, this was part of my birthday gift to me. The
Well, that's
tapestry
cool.
and the lights.
Very cool.
Yeah, these,
All right, well,
I'm not going to lie, these are actually box springs behind me with a black curtain. 'Cause the rest of the house is still under repairs, but this is the best looking part right now. So
so you got your setup at least.
yeah, it's
That's
literally
nice.
set up as a studio.
Yeah, my studio's a camper, so
It looks, we would not have known if you hadn't told us.
yeah, I'm in a camper.
Oh, works great. But yeah, Michael's going to get set up with a laptop. I'm going to help him get all that set up to do this kind of thing. And if you get a laptop,
Yeah.
computer, or something, I'll be very glad to help both of y'all get set up, and then y'all can do.
I should be getting it sometime next week. I haven't got paid yet because Nancy was supposed to take the money order to the post office yesterday, so I'm still waiting to receive it in order to get it.
She
Yeah,
ain't
once
gonna do you wrong. She got you.
Yeah. She was
So
excited
once
about
I get
the
enough
IP6,
money, I
know.
definitely got to get a computer so I can do this better.
I highly
I haven't-
recommend, if you're going to do any editing, I really recommend a gaming computer. Like go to a pawn shop or something and
Yeah,
get one.
I'd like to at least get like $1,000 to be able to get a real nice setup, so I could have like the microphone and everything, and do it like you're doing, James.
Yeah, I mean I got this off of eBay. This is a Rode NT1A. There's the NT1 and the NT1A. The A has a lot higher frequency response, so it's more for like singing and stuff. The NT1 is what they usually use in lower end voice acting, stuff like that, because they can get the bass from the voice better. So
Right.
and I could change
Well,
the
yeah.
element in here and get that effect.
Doing this on my phone, wasn't even sure I could do this on my phone until I went on your guys' stream.
Mhm.
I'll probably
Yeah.
keep doing this.
Right.
He's back.
If you guys want to do it again, just let me know. Maybe we can go on. Me and you could go on Michael's, or we could go on your channel.
Yeah, I'm
Probably.
thinking about possibly doing one either Sunday or next week when I can drop the link and stuff and let you guys come on if you're down.
I don't know
All
about
right.
my phone.
Plus we get like 20 free hours according to my friend Nick, and whom I'm interviewing tonight, and he says that they refill after the 7th of next month. So
Yeah, you're interviewing Paranormal Poet. What time are you doing that live, Mike?
6 p.m. my time. I think that'll be 7 yours. I think, and
All right.
4 p.m. Pacific.
All right. So yeah, definitely everybody check out Michael Birkin, Mysteries Untold. He'll be doing an interview with Paranormal Poet. We'll definitely be doing this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I guess we'll just end it here, but next time we'll do this again, and maybe on one of your channels. Next time, maybe we can get Matt to come on and tell some more of his stories.
Yeah, he's working on a lot of stuff. He's been very busy lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. Very glad you guys came on, so thank you very much.
Thank you for
Anytime,
having us.
Everybody go check out their channels, please. Yeah, have a good one. Thanks, fellas. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Peace out, dudes.